We weren't flashy. No grand declarations, no movie scene romances. But we had rhythm. Morning coffee, shared glances over the kids' homework, late-night shows where we both fell asleep before the credits rolled. 15 years of a life that felt dependable. And I thought dependability was love. I told myself, this is forever. We're steady. We're safe. I never imagined the ground beneath us could break.
It started small. She'd sigh more often, long and heavy, like her chest carried something she couldn't say. Her phone, once tossed casually on the couch, now lived face down, always within reach. She stared at it like she was waiting for a message that mattered more than me. I told myself it was nothing. Stress, work. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't want to name it.
I tried harder. Made her breakfast in bed on random mornings, bought flowers when it wasn't Valentine's Day. Sat beside her, even when she was scrolling endlessly, her eyes locked on a world that didn't include me. But she was already elsewhere. Her hugs grew shorter, her smile thinner. She left earlier for errands, came back later from catching up with friends. I felt her slipping, like sand through my fingers, and I kept telling myself, if I just love her harder, maybe she'll stay. It wasn't a fight. No yelling, no slammed doors. We sat at the kitchen table, the kids asleep upstairs. The tea between us had gone cold. Her hands were folded, her eyes fixed on a crack in the tile floor. Then she said it. Quiet, but sharp enough to split me in two. There's someone else. The words didn't echo. They just settled inside me like a stone sinking in water. I couldn't breathe, couldn't even look at her. And yet, I didn't move. I didn't yell, didn't break dishes, didn't beg. I just stood up, grabbed my jacket, and walked out into the night. The streets were quiet, but every lit-up window I passed felt like a reminder. Somewhere inside, couples still trusted each other. I walked until my legs ached, until my thoughts blurred into the sound of traffic. By the time I came back, the sun was rising. I didn't come home for her. I came back for the kids, but something in me had already burned to ash. The house looked the same, but it didn't feel like home. Her mug was on the counter, the kids' backpacks by the door. Everything was normal, except me. She tried to speak when I walked in, but I couldn't hear her. Her voice was just noise under the pounding in my head. I went upstairs, kissed the kids' foreheads, and forced a smile I didn't recognize. For them, I had to pretend. But inside, I felt like a ghost haunting my own life.
Why him? Why now? Was it something I did? Or something I didn't? I replayed every year in my head like an old movie reel. Every time I'd brushed off her sighs, every time I'd chosen work over listening, every time I thought love meant routine instead of effort. But then the darker questions came. Did she ever really love me the way I loved her? Or was I just safe? The answers never came, only silence echoing louder than her confession.
A week later, I asked her to sit down again. Same kitchen table, same cold silence between us. This time, I looked straight at her. Tell me the truth. Was it just once? She hesitated, and in that hesitation, I found my answer. She said, yes, just once. But her eyes, they betrayed her. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But something inside me whispered,
You'll never know the full story, and she'll never give it to you. That was the night I realized trust doesn't return with words.
Every instinct screamed at me to leave, to pack a bag, slam the door, and never look back. But then I'd see the kids, their drawings taped to the fridge, their laughter spilling through the hallways. How do you walk away from half your life when half of it still needs you? At night, I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling. My body was there, but my heart was already outside, pacing the street again. I asked myself 100 times, was saving the family worth sacrificing myself? And I still didn't have the answer.
The months that followed felt like living in a house after a fire. The walls still stood, the furniture still there, but everything smelled of smoke. We did the routines: school drop-offs, dinners, birthdays, smiles for the kids, silence for each other. Sometimes she tried, a hand on my shoulder, a soft word, but every touch felt borrowed, every kindness rehearsed. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the other parent. And every day the ruins reminded me of what we'd lost.
I kept clinging to the idea that maybe love could be rebuilt, that maybe, if I waited long enough, the pieces would fit back together. But one morning, as she brushed past me in the hallway, it hit me. I didn't feel love anymore. Not anger, not passion, not even longing, just emptiness. It scared me more than her betrayal ever did, because at least betrayal meant I still cared. Now I wasn't sure I did. That was the moment I whispered to myself, it's over. Even if we're still here, it's over. I started daydreaming about apartments I'd never seen. Quiet spaces where no one's phone buzzed in the middle of the night. Kitchens where the silence wasn't heavy with secrets. I pictured mornings where I woke up alone and didn't feel betrayed, just free. Evenings where I cooked for myself, sat with the kids on my weekends, and didn't have to wonder who she was texting. For the first time, the thought of being without her didn't terrify me. It felt like breathing after holding my breath for too long.
One night, after the kids were asleep, I told her, I can't do this anymore. Not like this. She didn't fight me. Didn't beg. Didn't bargain. She just nodded, like she'd been waiting for me to say it out loud. We agreed to separate. Not for a week, not for a trial. For real. And though my chest felt hollow, there was also relief. The kind that comes when you finally set down something too heavy to carry. The first night in my new place was brutal. An empty apartment, a mattress on the floor, silence so loud it hurt. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made a mistake. If maybe I should have stayed, swallowed the pain, kept the family under one roof. But then I woke up the next morning, made coffee in my own kitchen, sat in the quiet, and for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like peace. I realized leaving wasn't the end. It was the beginning of breathing again. It's been months now. The kids split their time between us. They're adjusting. And I'm learning how to cook more than scrambled eggs. Sometimes, when I see her at drop-off, there's a pang. A reminder of the life we built and lost. But it's not longing anymore. It's just history.
I don't know if she ever truly loved me the way I loved her. I don't know if forgiveness will ever find me. What I do know is this: I'm alive. Without her. And every day, I'm learning how to be myself again.